Welcome. This is Nia Ali, and you are attending Academy U. In this lesson, you're going to learn about paragraph structure and how to write a paragraph. So before you get started, make for certain you have a pencil and paper handy, because you're not going to just sit through this class passively and just listen to this lecture. No, you're going to engage. You're going to take notes, and you're going to follow my prompts as I give you throughout this course. So before we get started, go ahead and format your paper for Cornell Notes. And if you don't know what Cornell Notes is at this point, please stop the video, go to an outside source, and Google Cornell Notes. And as you're formatting your paper for Cornell Notes, make for certain that you have your heading that includes your name, the date, the topic, which is paragraph structure, and get prepared for your essential question. As you make the formatting in your paper, your essential question is, how do I write a well-composed paragraph using the RACES strategy? Again, how do I write a well-composed paragraph using the RACES ACES strategy? That's a correction. It's actually the RACES ACES strategy. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to use the RACES ACES writing strategy to write a well-composed paragraph. The reason why it's RACES ACES is because this ACES part of it takes it a further step. Once you have mastered how to use the RACES strategy, I then move my students forward to the RACES ACES strategy. It's for a more developed type of writing. Now, you can use this strategy for any type of writing and be successful at writing. This is what the RACES ACES looks like. Knowing that each letter stands for a type of sentence. Throughout this lesson, I'm going to teach you the type of sentences along with their purposes, and then how to write to that purpose. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to meet some learning targets. Here are our learning targets for today's course. On your piece of paper, you're going to self-assess yourself. We do this in the beginning of each lesson to determine your depth of knowledge on the topic. We will do this again at the end of the lesson to determine how much you actually have learned. So for starters, our first learning target is, I can apply the RACES ACES strategy to my paragraph. Now it's time for you to self-assess yourself. You're going to put the letter B for before the lesson, either in, I have no clue what she's talking about. And if you have no clue, that's perfectly fine. You're going to put the letter B in that space. Or you can say, I've heard about that before, but I'm still going to need a little help. So if that's you right now, you're going to put the letter B in that space. Or you can say, hey, I know this already. Then you're going to put the letter B in that. And if you can say, I can teach it, okay, that's where you're going to put the letter B for that learning target. Learning target number 2. I understand the purpose of each sentence in the RACES ACES strategy. So you're going to self-assess yourself. Are you going to say, I have no clue what she's talking about? And that's fine. You're going to put the letter B in that space to that learning target. Or you can say, I've heard it. Then you're going to put the B in that learning space. Or you're going to say, I know it, which means I understand the purpose of each sentence in the RACES ACES strategy. I know that already. And if you can say, I know it, you're going to put the B there. Or I can teach it. If you can teach this strategy to someone else, kudos for you. And that means you have mastered this task of the RACES ACES. One more learning target. I know how to fill in the gap. If you know what fill in the gap is, you're going to put, I know it. If you can teach someone else how to fill in the gap, you're going to put the letter B in, I can teach it. However, if you don't have any clue of what I mean when I say it's time to fill in the gap, you're going to put a B there. Or if you can say, I've heard about filling in a gap, but I'm really unsure about it, you're going to put a B there. At this point, it doesn't matter where your letter B goes. I just need you to complete your learning target. Let's move forward. As we are writing this paragraph together, there are some sentence requirements that you must implement in your writing. They are: sentences must start with a capitalized letter. Sentences must end in punctuation. Sentences must vary in structure and length. Sentences must contain between 10 and 15 words each. Sentences may be complex and compound. So we're going to put all of that together in our lesson for today as we write our well-constructed paragraph. We're going to go back to our Cornell Notes now. Remember, for you Cornell Notes scholars, you only write on the right-hand side of your paper. You're going to write in bullet points. You're going to watch this PowerPoint and hear my voice. You're not going to write everything you hear me say, nor will you write everything that you see on the PowerPoint. Rather, you're going to put the remix on it, the secret sauce. For each section, you're going to put down 2-3 bullet points of what you deem this is most important. I'm going to give you some clues to let you know that we're in a new section, and I'm also going to suggest to you when to skip lines to differentiate those sessions. So it's time to get started. There are 8 sentences in this paragraph structure that I'm going to share with you. And so let's take a look at our writing prompt. We will be writing to this prompt: what makes you a good candidate to be a student body president? This is a standard prompt that many students get throughout the year, and it can be written and answered in so many different ways. Are you ready? Let's go. In your Cornell Notes, on the right-hand side, you're going to start with restate sentence. Be prepared to add your bullet points. Restate sentence. That is the first sentence of your paragraph, and basically, it is the main idea of your writing. What that means is it tells your reader the reason and the purpose of why you are writing. It tells your reader the reason why you're writing and address to the writing prompt. In this sentence, it is very important that you do not use the word because in this sentence. How to? Simply, how to write this sentence? You simply restate the question and add your claim, making for certain to implement our sentence requirements. So what should that look like? Restate sentence example. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. In this example, I gave you the writing prompt, which was the question, why would you make a good candidate? So I need to make for certain that I put all of the words right back into that sentence. In addition to that, I need to also make for certain that I add my claim. That's my position. That is the answer basically to the restate sentence. This is what it looks like when we look at our racist ACEs. For the letter R, if you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. Our next sentence, skip down 2 lines in your Cornell Notes. The next section is answer sentence. Answer sentence is our sentence number 2. Now, in this sentence, it's actually going to provide the reason why to our restate sentence. So in your brain, you have to ask yourself, why would I make a good candidate? How could I make a good candidate? Or I can make a good candidate because, and you know those reasons that you're coming up with in your brain? That's actually the answer to the next question, which is your answer sentence. So when you take a look at it, how to, it's the why to your topic. It answers why, how, or because to your restate sentence. Let's take another look at this. So as you're writing, you just finished your restate sentence. Now it's time for you to supply your answer. So you just ask yourself these questions. Why would I make a good student body president? And then that list of response, you just compose in a sentence, and that is your answer sentence. Or you may ask yourself, how would you make a good student body president? And the list of response that you get, you compose that into a sentence, and that is your answer sentence. Or you may ask yourself, you would make a good student body president because, and that answer you get, you compose it in a sentence, and that is your answer sentence. So let's look at our example. I would make a great student body president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. In this example, we want to make for certain that we're using all of the required criteria, which include, I have at least 10 to 15 words per sentence. I'm starting my sentences with capitalized letters. I'm ending with punctuation, and I'm varying the length and the structure of my sentence. And I'm also writing complex and or compound sentences. We want to develop our writing to this position. Let's look at it in paragraph form for the A for answer. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. Let me just point out something to you here. You see where I ended with, I will make a great student body president here, and then I reiterated here, I would make a great student body president, and then this is actually my because. Not only because, and I just extend that information. And the reason why I'm a little bit repetitive in this is because you want to write with focus, precision, so that your reader understands without a shadow of a doubt the reason why you are writing. Okay, it's time to pause. Remember in the beginning when I share with you fill in the gap? This is the time when we fill in the gap. So we're going to stop for just a brief moment, and I'm going to share with you what fill in the gap is. You see, sometimes when you hear things and you're writing things, you're going to miss out on some things, and that is completely normal. But we can't stop there. We have to go back and rehearse what we learned so we can fill in the gap. So if you're working with a shoulder partner, you're going to read your notes from the beginning to the point where we left off out loud to your shoulder partner. Your shoulder partner is then going to listen. Now, if they hear something that they don't have in their notes, they're then going to jot that down and fill in the gap in their notes. And then once you're finished reading, your shoulder partner then is going to read their notes to you. And if you hear something that you don't have in your notes, you're then going to fill in the gap, and you're going to write down whatever it was that you missed. Now, for instance, if you're just listening to this lecture completely on your own, no worries. You're still going to fill in the gap. I'm going to give you some time. You're going to stand up, and you're going to read your notes out loud, because there's something magical that happens when you see it, when you're reading it, and when you're hearing it. It's going to definitely help with your retention. It's time to fill in the gap. Ready, set, read. I need you back in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's move forward. In your Cornell notes, skip 2 lines. We are in a new section. Sentence number 3 is called the cite sentence. The reason why it's called the cite sentence is because this is the place where you have to cite evidence to prove your restate sentence is true. This is where if you are reading any literature, if you're reading an article, if you're reading a novel, if you are having a discussion around any type of literature, you must use that literature as pieces of evidence to support your position. However, if you're just writing to a blanket prompt, meaning there's no literature attached to it, that's fine too. You'll just use personal evidence as your cite sentence. Make for certain that you're using either the MLA formatting or the APA formatting, whichever formatting that's used by your school. Make for certain that you are applying that formatting to this sentence. Here's what the cite sentence example should look like. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Harris 6, period. Now let me explain this example. In my cite sentence, I'm pretending in this scenario that this class has read an article entitled Leadership in Demand. That's why I mentioned the article and I mentioned Leadership in Demand here. And if you notice, I italicized Leadership in Demand because that is the title of the article. Then I tell you what the article states that supports my position of me being a great leader. Great leaders are great givers. And then at the end, I see my quotation marks around whatever information I brought from the article. I have my comma here, my parentheses, the author's last name, along with the page number, parentheses, period. And this example is MLA citation. Many school districts use MLA citation. We're going to apply that here. So what does this look like in the form of a paragraph? Let's read. If you are going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article Leadership in Demand states that great leaders are great givers. Let's move forward to our next section right after this, because I have to further explain cite sentences. With the cite sentence, you must support your topic with evidence. It's not enough just to give me your position or your claim. You have to support it with evidence. If you're responding to a text, again, you will always use the text as evidence to support your position. And don't forget to include that MLA citation. In your Cornell notes, skip down 2 spaces. We are in a new section, explain sentence. In the explain or expand sentence, this is sentence number 4. This is where you provide additional information, but you provide the additional information to sentence number 3. This is where you go into further explanation about what you've just said. And you have to remember that whatever you're saying, you're making your restate sentence true. So how do we write an explain sentence? You simply provide an explanation to further extend the information on what you just said. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's the explain or extend information sentence. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. So in this sentence, what I did is I explained further what the making of a great leader is by using the cite sentence as my evidence and also showing further proof by something else that happened, by extending that information. Let's take a look at it in a paragraph. If you are going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. In your Cornell notes, skip 2 lines. We are in a new section. Answer sentence. All right, so I know that I've already shared answer sentence, the notes on that. So what I need your super scholars to do, I need you to scroll up to the answer sentence that I had already given you, and I need you to place that information down in this section because we're actually in a new section. So the answer sentence is sentence number 5, but it's the exact same purpose for this sentence as the previously mentioned answer sentence. This sentence supports your claim to make it true, and it answers why, how, or because to your topic. The difference between this answer sentence and the prior answer sentence is you just have to come up with another reason why to support your restate sentence. Let's take a look at that. You're going to ask yourself, why else would I make a good student body president? How else would you make a good student body president? And you will make a great student body president because, so you're asking yourself all of those questions all over again, and this time you're coming up with another reason. And our sentence example is, my commitment to our students also qualifies me to be student body president. Let's take a look to see what that looks like in paragraph form. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. My commitment to our students also qualifies me to be student body president. It's time to fill in the gap. Put your pencils down and stop what you're doing briefly. At this time, you're going to turn to your shoulder partner and you're going to read your notes from where we left off, which was the cite sentence. You're going to read all the way down from the cite sentence into our answer sentence. And then you're going to fill in the gap and switch. And again, if you're listening to this lecture on your own, no problem. You're going to stand up, you're going to read your notes out loud, you're going to see it, you're going to say it, and you're going to hear it, which is going to build the retention in you. It's time to fill in the gap. 1, 2, ready, read. I need you back in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. It's time to move forward. Cite sentence. All right, skip down 2 lines in your Cornell notes. You already know what to do. You're going to go back up to where I have already given you that cite information, and you're going to copy that information and or draw lines from that information to this next section in your Cornell notes. This cite sentence is sentence number 6. Just like you did before, you have to prove what you're saying is true through the use of evidence. In this scenario, we have been reading about what makes a great president. Therefore, we have already used the text as evidence in our last example. And in this example, we're going to use some personal experience. Here's the example. Just last semester, I started a new tutoring mentoring club among seniors and freshmen. This is what it looks like in a paragraph form. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. My commitment to our students also qualifies me to be student body president. Just last semester, I started a new tutoring mentoring club among seniors and freshmen. You see how I fixed that? Make for certain you fixed yours as well. Let's move forward. Here's our recap to make for certain that you thoroughly understand the cite sentence. You must support your restate sentence with evidence either from an outside source or personal experience. You must always use MLA or APA formatting when you're using an outside source. In your Cornell notes, skip down 2 lines, we have a new section. Explain sentence, and sometimes I call it to expand. But this is sentence number 7. And what it does is it provides additional information. I know you know this already. It explains further your previous sentence to help make it true. How do you write an explain or an expand sentence? It's simple. You just expand further what you've just mentioned. This is our example. The club helped to bring camaraderie between grade levels, leadership among our seniors, and provided our freshman students with a peer partner. So what I just did is I explained further the personal citation of the use of establishing the club. That is the purpose of the extend sentence, to further explain what you've just said. Let's take a look at it in our paragraph form. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. My commitment to our students also qualifies me to the student body president. Just last semester, I started a new tutoring mentoring club among seniors and freshmen. The club helped to bring camaraderie between grade levels, leadership among our seniors, and provided our freshman students with a peer partner. In your Cornell notes, skip down 2 spaces. We're in a new section. And this section is called a summary sentence. And in actuality, this is one of the easiest sentences to write in our racist ACEs paragraph structure. The reason why it's so easy to write is because this sentence is just a direct copy of your reset sentence, which is your first sentence, your restate sentence. So this is your last sentence. And in this sentence, it has 2 purposes. For starters, you're going to restate your restate sentence. I know that's a little crazy, but you are. Basically, you're going to say what you've already said. You're going to say it again, but you're only going to say it using different words. In addition to that, the second purpose of your summary sentence is to sum up and close the paragraph. How do you write the summary sentence? It's easy. You simply restate the restate sentence, just use different words. Let's take a look at that. Here's an example. If you want a class president that has proven leadership ability, make sure you check the box, James Jones for president. Let's take a look at it in a complete paragraph form. If you're going to vote for any candidate, it should be me. I would make a great student body president. I would make a great president not only because of my academic standing, but because of my service leadership for our campus. The article, Leadership in Demand, states that great leaders are great givers. Mrs. Jackson honored me last quarter as most giving, donating 50 hours of time to the United We Stand homeless shelter. My commitment to our student also qualifies me to be student body president. Just last semester, I started a new tutoring mentoring club among seniors and freshmen. The club helped to bring camaraderie between grade levels, leadership among our seniors, and provide our freshman students with a peer partner. If you want a class president that provides leadership ability, make sure you check the box, James Jones for president. Now, in my last summary sentence, basically I said I'm going to be a great president. I just said it in a completely different way. So if I was writing my paragraph, it will look just like this. Let me point out a few things. I'm making for certain that all of my sentences starts with capitalized letters, they end in punctuation. I make for certain that each sentence is at least between 10 to 15 words. I make for certain to structure the length and to vary the structure of my sentences. In addition to that, at this level, I am very comfortable writing complex sentences as well as compound sentences. So that's the lesson for Racist Aces. This is a writing strategy that I use to teach students how to write well-composed paragraphs. I assure you, if you use Racist Aces to any prompt, I can pretty much guarantee you that you will always write with clarity, with focus, and well-composed paragraphs. All you have to do is remember the strategy, Racist Aces. Now let's go back to our learning targets. At the end of the lesson, we always go back to self-assess to ensure that we met our learning targets. In the beginning, we use the letter B. This time, we're going to use the letter A for after the lesson. You're going to self-evaluate yourself again with learning target number 1. I can apply the Racist Aces strategy to my paragraph. Can you apply what you just learned to writing? At this point, you're going to put the letter A in one of the categories. Hopefully it's in I know it, or I can teach it. If you put anything else, and it's fine, that just means you need to hit replay once we finish this lesson so you can hear it again. Learning target number 2. I understand the purpose of each sentence and the racist strategy. Along the way in the lecture, I was sharing with you the purpose of each sentence, of each one of those sentences, because if you understand the purpose of each sentence, the writing of that sentence is simple because you understand the reason why. So you're going to put the letter A for after the lecture in one of the 4 categories. Hopefully it's in I know it or I can teach it. If it's in any other category, make sure you press replay to listen to this lecture again. I know how to fill in the gap. I am more than sure you're comfortable with filling in the gap at this point. Filling in the gap is just a way to build retention in our learning. For starters, we give our brain a short break as it processes. In addition to that, we make for certain that our partners, if we're working with them, are also getting all the information that they need to make for certain that their notes are well developed. And if you're working alone, no big deal. The fact that you're reading it, seeing it, and hearing it is building retention in you. So, assess yourself with the letter A for filling in the gap. Hopefully, as I can teach it. I just want to thank you for joining me today and allowing me to guide you through this RACES ACES paragraph structure. I want you to practice it every single day and make for certain that you get very comfortable with using it. Writing is a breeze. Now I've given you tools and a strategy to use to be a great writer. I thank you for joining me here. And if you have any questions, just hit replay and listen to the lecture again. You have just been schooled with Academy U and Nia Ali. And we're going to give a shout out to Swig Star, who supplies us with our music, and we thank you. Until next time, be great.
Freak cute.